Well, good afternoon, Franklin Township. This is PJ Parker from the Franklin Reporter and Advocate, and we are here today exploring a homeowners issue. We are in the Levitt development, one of the Levitt developments in our community, on the corner of Orchid Court and Johnson, I think it's Road. And there seems to be a preponderance of problems that are going to develop or have already developed in these buildings that have been primarily furnished with cast iron piping, and typically with homes that have not gotten any basements. So we're exploring why this is happening. What are the signs to look for if you feel that it may be happening in your home, and then what to do about it. So, to that end, if you've been a faithful reader of the Franklin Reporter and Advocate's monthly digest, on the back page, you will have seen an ad from Morgan and Morgan, who is the largest plaintiff attorney firm in the country. And we are fortunate to have a local representative from that firm, a local personality who I'm sure you have all seen, known, and cared about in so many opportunities in Franklin Township, Mr. Rob Trautmann. And Rob is very familiar with this situation, not just because he's an attorney with this firm, but because he used to live on this very block. So you know about cast iron pipes. Tell us what people should be looking for as possible symptoms, what they can do to alleviate the symptoms, even on a temporary basis, before the next step of getting it taken care of and then getting it paid for.
Certainly. Thanks again for having me out, PJ. The reason we're here, as you said, in this neighborhood is because this is a prevalent issue in this neighborhood, specifically because this was all built in the 60s. And homes that were built in the 1960s and before that typically have cast iron pipes in terms of their waste water exiting the home. And while it was state of the art in the 60s, it has a lifespan of probably 60 years, give or take a few years. And so we're at that time now where we're starting to see these systems fail. And this is happening around the country. My firm represents people in Florida, Texas, Tennessee. I represent several, probably close to 100 in Philadelphia, primarily in Pennsylvania. So what happens is, over time, these pipes corrode and they break down. And so the corrosion causes flaking on the inside of the pipes, which actually causes the internal sections of the pipes to shrink, reducing their capacity. Further, there cracks and other issues form within the pipes. And because of the way these homes are constructed, these are mostly slab-on-grade homes, which means that the pipes are actually put into the construction fill, and then the slab is poured on top of that. And so what happens is when these pipes crack, the wastewater goes underneath the pipes, and it starts to wash away the fill, which is what supports the pipe under the foundation. And that causes even further issues because you have bellies in the pipes and those sorts of issues. And so we're out here just letting people know that if you have slow drains, if you've had backups over time, that it could be part of this issue here. And unfortunately, if you're experiencing that, it tends to get worse and worse and worse. So the reason we're involved in it is because the repairs are typically covered under insurance. Under your standard homeowner's insurance policy, you'll see that the water damage is covered. And if you called your insurance company because you had a toilet overflow or sink overflow or something like that that caused damage, they'll come out and they'll write an estimate and they'll pay a couple $1,000s usually to fix the water damage that occurred as a result of the overflow. The problem is typically they don't voluntarily pay to actually fix the problem, which requires, frankly, the tear out and replacement of the pipes. And it is a costly endeavor to do so. Homeowners policies have a little unique coverage language in there that actually pays for the insurance company to remove and replace undamaged articles to give access to replace this particular problem. It's also unique in that this is a problem that's caused by age-related changes to the pipes. It's wear, tear, marring, or deterioration, which is typically excluded in a homeowner's insurance policy. But there's a caveat for just this occasion, and where the insurance companies will come in and they're supposed to pay to tear out your old pipes. They don't pay for the new pipes. You have to pay for the new pipes yourself, but they do pay to fix your house after the tear out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're out here for, to say, if you're having these issues, you're covered by your insurance. You should make an insurance claim for it. And if you do that, you should tell them, I believe my cast iron pipe plumbing system has failed and is causing water damage to my house. And we're available. There's plenty of attorneys out there that do insurance work. We do it very well at our firm, and we do it nationally. But we're there to help if people need help with that. So it's really just about making sure people understand that if they're experiencing slow drains or overflows or something along those lines, it can be fixed. It's an expensive fix typically, but that's why you have insurance coverage for those sorts of things.
So is your involvement after the insurance companies have been involved and perhaps there's a problem with the insurance coverage?
Typically, we can get involved either at the outset and actually make the claim for our clients if they want us involved, or we can come in after the fact if there's been a denial or a payment that isn't quite what we believe is owed under the policy.
And you've been successful with this.
We have. I litigate these insurance claims all over the country. Specifically, these sorts of claims, we are winning trials in Florida and Texas and Tennessee, all over the place on these sorts of cases. So,
well, this seems to me like it's an essential move for people to actually know if this is the case with their particular homes. Is there any sort of diagnostic that if someone is not necessarily having an overflow issue, is there something that can be preemptive to identify that, we may have this problem, let's see if we can nip it in the proverbial bud?
Well, certainly you can retain a plumbing contractor that can come out. They do a video scope of the lines, and when we're brought into a case, that's what we do. We retain one of our contractors, our experts, to come out. Typically what they'll do is they will remove a toilet and they put a camera down through the pipes, and you get a full color, high definition view of the inside of your pipes. And I've seen everything from bugs to rodents, giant cracks, to pristine pipes. So it can run the gamut. Typically, if you're not seeing slow drains, if you're not having overflows, you don't have an issue, and I wouldn't say it would make sense to go out and spend the money on having someone do one of these scopes. But if you are, the options are out there for you, and it would behoove you to do that, because there are some other repair methods that can be done in some instances that are less invasive and less costly. But the only true way to get your home back into the way it's supposed to perform and get your plumbing system performing properly is to replace the pipes. And as I think we talked about earlier before we went on there, the way they do that is they'll actually come into these homes with a jackhammer and they will dig a tunnel over the pipes through the foundation, through your tile floor, your hardwood floor, your carpeting. They tear all that up because they have to get access to those pipes. And then when the new pipes go in, you have to repair all of that, and that's what you have insurance coverage for, to do those repairs, and to get the access to the pipes.
Well, to get the access, but when your house has been virtually destroyed on that level, to put it back together again, knowing that it's now safe, that you have a plumbing system that's safe and effective. Is this typically in single-family homes only?
It can be in any dwelling that uses, or any construction that uses cast iron pipes. We do have some commercial clients with it. I'll say that's not typical, because large-scale commercial buildings are built differently. Typically, we'll say the living space or the usable space is not sitting right on top of the slab where the pipes are in there. So generally they're constructed a little bit differently. But yes, typically you're going to see single-family homes like here in this Levitt neighborhood. Typically, it becomes a major issue with houses like this that are built slab on grade that don't have a basement. In houses that are built with basements, usually what you're going to see is the vast majority of the wastewater plumbing system is going to be in the basement ceiling and first level's floor. So you can get access without disrupting as much of the home as is necessary in houses like these.
I'm also thinking specifically about the vast number of condos and townhomes that are in Franklin Township. Quailbrook is vastly spread over our community, and I happen to live in one of those, and I am on a cement slab. I have no idea what my pipe construction is.
I would be willing to bet it's PVC, which is what is used today and what is would be replacing these cast iron pipes, which also has a useful life, but it's a useful life none of us will ever see at the end of the day. So the Quailbrook homes, they were built significantly after this development here,
of course.
and by that time, most construction had switched from cast iron pipes over to PVC or other products that don't pose the issues that the cast iron pipes do.
What would you suggest would be questions that a homeowner who isn't quite sure that this is a problem, what kind of questions should somebody ask, and should they be asking you?
Typically, they need to know when their house was built. They need to know if they've ever had an upgrade of their plumbing system before. They also need to know if they have the right insurance coverage that has this kind of coverage in it. That's something that if they called us or another law firm, they'd be able to provide a copy of their insurance policy, and it's very easy for us to identify which policies most have this coverage. It would be a rare event for it not to be there. But you would also have to speak to your plumber and your plumbing contractor and have them explain to you exactly why they think you're having these overflows or slow drain issues. Sometimes people put things they're not supposed to put down the toilets and the drain lines, and that could artificially cause the narrowing of the lines.
Of course.
And it's not this sort of issue. And that becomes another problem in and of itself, where you still have the same kind of coverage that can help replace it, but it has to be a little more narrowly focused. It's only going to pay for that little section usually to get at it if they can't clear the clog from either end, either the inside the house or outside the house. So.
Okay. Well, Franklin, this is not meant to frighten you, but it's meant to enlighten you that if you do live in one of these homes, if you are on a cement slab, if you have been in a Levitt development, there's a chance. It's not the end of the universe because you have Rob Trautmann here to guide you through the process. So, Rob, if someone needs your services, what do they do?
They could go to our website. It's forthepeople.com, forthepeople.com. They could contact us on the number you have there on the advertisement. They could, as you said, I'm out in the community all the time. Grab me and we could talk about it anytime. I'm happy to do that. So the bottom line is, again, we just want people to know that if they're having these issues, they don't have to just continue to live with it. There is options, because not a lot of people have the $50,000 or $60,000 that it is going to cost or more to do these repairs on their own. And so some people think they just have to live with it. Others will just pay it out of pocket if they have it. In fact, like I said, I know of at least one house on this road that happened. But you have insurance coverage that should be able to at least defray a portion of the cost in doing so.
Again, Franklin, not to frighten you, but it's an awareness that, again, if you've lived in this Levitt development or are in a slab-based home, it's possible. But you do have an option. You have somebody you can speak with who is very experienced in what your next steps are going to be. So if there's anything you'd like to add, Rob?
Just, again, be vigilant about it. Understand that if you're seeing your drains slowly, you might want to call a plumber in just to take a look at it, even before there's damage that would trigger the insurance coverage. Because the insurance coverage only works, I shouldn't say only works, but it only is triggered if an overflow causes damage to your house other than the actual pipes themselves. So if your toilet overflows and damages the baseboard or your cabinets in your bathroom or your kitchen, something along those lines, that would trigger this sort of coverage. But if you don't have an overflow or something like that. It's just something to keep an eye on and maybe get a plumber in to diagnose at some point before you run into these issues.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that you're here, that you've alerted us to the possibility. And if it becomes a reality, the number 732 612 0369. Again, 732 612 0369. And this is Rob Trautmann, attorney at law and attorney of renown in our community with his beautiful family at so many events. If you see him, trunk or treat's coming up. I'm pretty sure we're going to see you there.
We will be at many of them, I'm sure.
Okay, Franklin, we thank you for tuning in. It's always so good to have a member of our community who knows how the functioning of our community affects the rest of us. And we thank you again, Rob Trautmann.
Thank you.
This is PJ Parker, Franklin reporter and advocate, saying thanks for tuning in, and yes, we will be back.